Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to do a sequel to the video from yesterday because I'm still kind of messed up over it. And I think that has a lot to do with like just the incident in and of itself, but also the fact that the shooter got away, which is really scary to think that you can have an event that is witnessed by so many people, right? Hundreds, thousands, and the person that creates that carnage manages to flee. And maybe he's gotten away with it for just a day or a week, but still, the thought is scary. I was watching, it might have been Megan Kelly, who was like really tearful over what happened, but it was either her or someone else that said that what's so scary about the shooter getting away is that this could be part of some, broader plot by him to go and attack other, conservatives or just people, in the political realm. I made this point yesterday. I said Kirk was not someone I cared for in the slightest. He had opinions and positions on things that made my stomach turn. I mean, I think I didn't even know about this. It was yesterday somebody played the clip of him admitting that if his daughter at 10 years old were to get, well, exploited and become pregnant, that he would force her to carry it to term. There's also the whole bootlicking for Israel thing, which was really puts him in sort of a minority when it comes to a lot of the what I feel are younger conservative commentators and even some of the politicians. Whereas there might be a lot of disagreement on domestic issues, there are many commonalities in terms of, just how we view American involvement. And then, of course, my favorite position of his is to say that Martin Luther King was an awful person and that the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act was a mistake that created a DEI bureaucracy. Just, a lot of views that I find disgusting. People have pointed out the irony of someone who said that there was a certain like worth it in terms of gun deaths if we're to keep our Second Amendment rights. Like a person who says that being shot, just the irony of that. But as I said yesterday, I don't see what killing a commentator or someone who has a different opinion, however stupid or crazy we might think they are for feeling that way, what that does to benefit any of the positions opposite of them in the United States. I find it interesting that, whether it was Pac-Man or, Jimmy Dore or Jank or Kyle, I don't see a single like of the big commentators that have a million subscribers, like on the left wing side, or at least what in Dore's case would used to be left wing. I don't see anyone who's saying that they're happy this happened. The only people I see praising this are those faceless clowns on Twitter who, I mean, their entire thing is to just go online and write, disgusting stuff and hide behind a keyboard and the rest of their anonymity. And it's interesting to like basically use dead children, right? All the kids that were killed at these different school shootings, and then the kids and people in general in Palestine, to take dead people and use them as a way to grandstand. Because like what in any normal functioning society, people would look at someone getting killed while they're just debating and talking to people on a college campus as a bad thing. But because of his horrendous positions, that has been used as a justification to make the slaying of a commentator not as bad as it would be, or just not bad at all. And that, like I said, I really think in the long run this is going to continue to contribute to the US's decline. What kind of country do you want to live in where when you disagree with somebody, you get shot? 390 million guns in the US. How high are the chances that someone who doesn't agree with you on everything or most things has one of them and is in your area? Like that's scary. You had this guy that came out of their video and he wrote two comments. One of them was so stupid, where he was like, "Oh, this is not a gun issue; it's a spiritual issue." I'm like, "Yes, if we think about it, I'm sure someone could have taken down Kirk from 200 feet away with a knife, uh, or a paper plane. Yeah, absolutely. Their guns have nothing to do with people being able to blast someone from hundreds of yards away. Yep, 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 yep." If I'm being completely objective, like just removing myself from the equation in terms of, oh man, jealousy or whatever. If I'm just strictly looking at this in a, as much as I can, neutral way, Kirk had everything I wanted. Like, good paying job, which I think his salary from Turning Points USA was 300,000 a year, a wife, kids, very successful channel on this site. Um, and to have achieved all of that by only your first close to second year of being in your 30s, and then have all of it just taken away, I I think there is something disgusting and disturbing about that. And I feel very bad for his kids. They're at 3 and 1. They don't have a dad anymore. It's like these political positions and views and statements have really allowed people, particularly on the supposed left wing side, to dehumanize Kirk, right? To act as though this is not a man that lived and breathed like the rest of us. Someone who had parents and, again, his wife, his kids, who I would cast no doubts in anyone's mind are going to miss him. And that's always what's so interesting about death. You think about who would be affected by this hypothetical person passing away. Like, I always say that if I died, not counting the relatives who are already deceased, would anyone really care? I tend to lean toward no. I'm sure my best friend would be bothered by it for a while, but in terms of like the rest of my family, it's whatever. And I just bring it up to say that while you might have someone like me who just has nothing, there are people, not even counting the career success, right, who have a healthy and vibrant family that gets ripped in half by the untimely demise of this person, and that has ramifications that can go for years. Now, his shooting, like Trump's shooting from last year, was recorded. This one, it's like the camera guy had no idea that while he's posing his hand up to record Kirk answering some question about shootings, all of a sudden there's going to be a sniper rifle shot at him. There are people who are saying that to stop sharing the video. All I'll say about that is I saw it, and it really, I've never seen so much blood in just like a singular person. Just the amount in seconds is really disgusting. Like, if I knew specifically like that was the wound and just how fast it all just went down, because I think this is where it was interesting. Yesterday when I got I first found out about it from Secular Talk's video that said he was shot, and then once I got the report, shot in the neck, you had people saying different stuff, and then I saw where Cenk tweeted that he had died, and that was where, like, before seeing the video, I just kind of didn't really know, it was up in the air. But once I saw it, I was like, yeah, that they knew from the second that thing went through and how much blood was lost. There was no coming back from that. And while I'm someone who doesn't believe websites and other people should be able to tell you what you can and can't watch, it's really sad to watch Like I've seen people now make memes with this like either the footage or portions of the footage where like the second he gets shot they cut to something else. And it's like, man, imagine hating someone so much that when they die like in this graphic way on camera, you love it. You smile. You laugh about it. It's funny to you. I hope they find the shooter. I I would implore for the people that are like making fun or happy that he died to, maybe have a little bit of humanity. And I just don't see what good is done for either the American political scene or the U.S. in general from this man's passing. And I say that as someone who thought most things that came out of his mouth were a waste of hot air. But I cannot support killing commentators. Whole thing is just sick.